Hello, hello. Hi, I'm Francesca, and welcome to Brush Hour. I'm excited to be here. I hope that you are too. I'm going to let some of the live people come on and get settled. Yeah, hope everyone has had an awesome week. And I am doing Brush Hour now on YouTube as well. So I'm really excited about that. If YouTube is easier for you to hop on, go ahead and do that. Seems like it's a little bit easier to kind of like multitask and do stuff, but yeah, so it's already Thursday. It's been a really fun week for me. I hope it has been for you guys. I had some fun. I had some adult playtime yesterday with one of my good friends, Kelly. We went to Wolf in Scottsdale. So it's the new Lisa Vanderpump restaurant, and it was super fun. It was beautiful. We had like the best server. She was such like an amazing lady. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun, just kind of like catching up. And it's just, really good to have some adult time because I am usually working at home in the studio or having like, the baby. And yeah, so it's good to do that. Yeah. And yeah, so Saturday I have a workshop at Mesa Art Center. That'll be really fun. It is a beginner's guide to portraiture. Hello, hello. And yeah, so it's going to be a good time. The beginning, it's the first class of the spring semester. And so I kind of have all of my workshops there kind of structured where, it kind of is all accumulative. So you can kind of start off with a lot of the basics, and then we continue on throughout the spring semester and end it, with like a live model. And we have two at the end of the semester that'll be with live models for painting. So it's going to be lots of fun. You can go ahead and check out my website, francescabessetart.com, and I have a link for that. And I also have my Sargent workshop going on that's a virtual class. And that's been a lot of fun too. Have some fun students. And yeah, we've been just really studying Sargent and kind of implementing it into our work as well, doing some studies. Yeah, I'm just going to, let's see. Turn these headphones on. I'm hearing this like delay on the other screen, so hopefully you guys aren't hearing that, but I think I just need to connect my headphone. So yeah, so today I'm gonna just be kind of playing around with, I want to do a portrait of my little Delilah. I love this photo of her. And I did a drawing of her a few weeks ago on Brush Hour, if maybe you saw that. And let's see, I think I have it right here. I'm going to bring it right out. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find it in just a minute. But yeah, so I did, just a little study of it. I love this one because of just the value range on here. Her eyes just look super dark, and so they like really pop against everything else. So yeah, I'll be adding that. And then I'm also going to have just extra fun with this one. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it tonight, but we'll see. I have some glitter, and that like it's just they're like thicker pieces. They're iridescent stars, gold stars, and I'm going to implement it into my piece. And I'll probably use like maybe a Mod Podge or some type of like glue substance to keep it on there. But I think that'll be fun to kind of add a little bit of mixed media to it. Having the painting be really the star of the show, but then adding extra stuff into there. And so I have my palette from the other night, so I'll kind of just be using that a little bit. And yeah, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot some comments. I see Marcus saying hello. Ani P saying hi, hello. And I am not positive how it looks out on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram watching, comment and let me know how it's looking. Hello, Cheryl. Cheryl Bessett, my beautiful, awesome mom. I miss you. Okay, yeah. So I already have like these kind of separated out by value. So I got some skin tone, some darker, and but this is again, this is like kind of a lighter painting. So it's going to be much more of high key. So way more in here than up here, but okay. And I got so it's just some solvent-free medium. I have been using this 3-in-1 Gamblins, their medium that they have, and it's been awesome. I think I mentioned it last week, but I took a Sean Cheetham online or virtual workshop, and he recommended it, and yeah, it's really, really, really good. I've been using it in between like layers as well, because you can oil out with it, which really freshens up your painting. All of the shadows, they come alive a little bit more, so you have more reference for your values. But yeah, so I kind of want, again, I'm going to do a little bit of mixed media with it, and later with some of the glitter and such. I want it to really read, you know, like this little toddler that has this giant, beautiful imagination right now. And I think that'll kind of match with that. Okay. And so I'm just going to be picking out some brushes. All right. And I have the 3-in-1 in a little container right here. My mom says my hair color is amazing. Thank you. I washed it and did a blowout yesterday since I had dinner with my friend. And Mom, I don't know if you popped on until after, but it was so beautiful. And it's in Old Town at the Caesars Republic Hotel. It's at the 7th floor, and it was so gorgeous. It's decorated so beautifully. The food was really good. And yeah, it was good company as well. Oh, but so that's why my hair looks so nice. And I got it done recently. My girl Autumn is really great. I'm actually getting my hair cut tomorrow. Much needed. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna like do a block in for her. First, I'm gonna see if I can get this to connect in my. There we go. Oh, I don't hear that echo. It's hard thinking when you can hear yourself 2 seconds behind. Oh, I did do some fun drawings earlier this week too that I will share. No. This one, I can't remember if I showed this last week. I can't remember if I had done it before. So this one right here is one that I'm really excited about. I can't wait to turn this into a painting. This is definitely a study for one. So I'm just kind of playing around with some realism and then also some shapes. So instead of it just being, so this will be more of like the realistic look of her, and then I'll have all of these more illustrated and graphic look, which will be so fun. Use hand gestures to center. I don't know what And let's do this drawing of her. Not really finished with that one, but fun nevertheless. And then I did this one that I love. Oh, maybe that was, might have just done that on a printer paper. That's why, as much as I do love using printer paper, it's nice to have everything in place. So that'll be a surprise. You'll have to see me post it. And then, yeah, just some other fun little sketches to get in the groove of working on some designs. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get going on blocking Delilah in. And I don't want her, I'm not going to have her too high up. So, because, she is a little one. So I want to, if I frame her up too high, she'll look super grand. And kind of want to keep her looking tiny like she is. And so I'm just enveloping, which is just kind of getting the perimeter of her, and I'm keeping it nice and sketchy and not too committal. And since the angle is, I'm a little bit below her, so I want to get those proportions right, because it's very easy to, want to like get someone straight on. So I want to make sure she's actually looking, up, because that's part of like this beautiful pose I love. And but yeah, so my workshop this weekend at Mesa Art Center, I do have a couple more spots available. And if you're interested in joining the group, it's really such a beautiful facility to do art at. But yeah, we'll be just doing basically the basics of portraiture. So just like things, essential things to know. And yeah, it's going to be a really good time. It always is. And so I'm constantly just squinting to get my basic shapes kind of going. And this is, yeah, you can see that up in there. Maybe I'll move this down just a little bit. And yeah, I'm going to keep it nice. And I want to have, especially when I'm drawing with pencil, I like to really kind of keep the brush marks kind of alive and everything. So, I do try to implement whatever I'm, doing with my painting a little bit into my drawings into my painting, because that's how I'm finding, that's how we find our style, is really through a lot of just like straight up drawing. Mm. And I'm using this Princeton long round brush from Jerry's. I love these Princeton brushes. It's the Velvet Touch. And yeah, they're just like really I really like the bristles, and these especially go to a really nice point. So I feel like I can get a lot out of out of my brush marks. I can use it like a pencil. I can use it, really like thick. You can manipulate it quite a bit, because we want variation, and it's nice to be able to get a lot of variation out of, one brush, because otherwise, which is there's nothing wrong with, but we want to make sure we have, a variety, long bristles, more, this is more of a bristle brush opposed to this synthetic, these synthetic bristles. I don't think they're nylon, but The nylons are nice too, but then like flats. But as I'm drawing it out, I'm just kind of sticking to this one. But I always have some on deck next to me. And let's see. Okay. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna kind of get the bases in. The ears also are really telling a story too of where the head is angled out at. So always keep that in mind because that can change everything. Our ears, they always they're gonna stay the same where they're at, right? They don't move, but we move. So if we're up like this and if we have the ears drawn out up here, it's really confusing to the viewer. So it's going to look, it basically turns them like this, but it changes all of their proportions. So we want to make sure that we're like really keeping in mind the ears, and it can just be a little indication. We don't need to have them like, out all, they can just be getting that like earlobe right here is really good. Yeah, it just tells us where that head is aimed, and just those, those little things are really good. Those nuances are going to really, they will elevate your work. So look for them. It's like, what are the most important, if you were, going to have bullet points of the most important parts of the portrait, we want to like prioritize those because it doesn't need to be so overcomplicated. We can simplify important things. And again, the ears are going to be a real good anchor for that. Okay, let's start to get her eyes in. I'm going a little bit darker, but I don't want to go all the way black first. So, we never really want to go super dark at first if we can help it, because then we don't have any range to go anywhere. That's why it's also helpful to have your canvas or panel toned, because we already have a middle value, so we can really have a lot of play. We can go darker, we can go lighter, and then we have like our mid-tone that's just there and helping us. It's also great to do with drawing, so toned paper is great. And we usually have about an eye width in between the eyes. So it's usually about the distance between one eye in between. So that's always a good thing to check. Sometimes it can be depending on where our head is. It can be hard to determine. So we do want to like double check our measurements always. Always check your work. It's like math, painting and drawing is like math, but it's a lot more fun. So just make sure that that we're, keeping the measurements in mind. And also, I guess if you asked my dad that, he probably would disagree because he is, total mathematician. So it probably is more fun for him, but that's probably why he would be super great at painting. He came to one of my classes recently, and I'm trying to get him to come to some more. So, Mom, if you're still on, you tell him that. So in this approach right here that I'm doing is, I'm drawing it out versus doing, what I usually like to do, which is more so blocking the socket all the way, and totally an option and a different approach to do. But with this, she has, her eye sockets, there's not a lot of shadow in there. So I don't want to overdo it too much or add the value. So I am just trying to draw it out. And again, it's just nice to switch up our approach and make sure that we're doing different things, because different approaches can be good for different situations. this nose in there. So I can measure up like where we can close one eye to get a good measurement. Otherwise, we run into a Wayne's World situation for camera one, camera two. Try it out too. Grab like a brush or a pencil and line it up to something. And then close your right eye. And then close your right eye or left eye. Go back and forth and it moves. So we want to make sure that when we're measuring things and trying to compare, that we are closing one eye. So make sure that you're closing the same one throughout your time. So if you want, you can use one eye. If you have one eye that's more dominant, close the other eye when you're drawing or painting. But that works for especially for if you're painting someone live or from life. And with her nose, now she is looking right up. So guess what? We can see her nostrils. And if you've taken a workshop with me or heard me talk at all about noses, this is a great example because I always say it doesn't matter how cute your nose is or how cute a nose is. We never want to really get the nostrils. So we want to be able to group them together as much as possible. And so I'm going to do that with her. You know, she has the cutest little button nose and those nostrils, but it's not going to read as well on a painting or a drawing. So thinking of Sargent, like we've been talking about, everything was grouped, everything was simplified. So we want to think about that, especially with noses. Pretty much everything, anything you can simplify, but especially the nose. And I'm going to even go a little bit of a lighter value because it is lighter. And yeah, so I was talking about the doing our plumb line. So I want to bring it up to her nose, her nostril, and see where it lines up. Both of them. And she's pretty straight on. And so it is the corners of her eyes are set off just a little bit. And so those things are going to be important too. You know, if we have them right lined up, then it makes the eyes a little bit closer. And just a little millimeter on our painting or drawing can mean a few inches depending on, you know, where it is on in your composition, but it can totally change how that person's proportions are. So being able to find those anchors is really important because also we're all different. And if we have a different angle, you know, we want to make sure we're always checking plums. Because in this case, she is straight on, but you know, it's not always the case. So just a little tip. And I'm going to go ahead and get some paper towel. As I'm looking kind of gray right here, so I'm actually going to, because the nose is always going to be a little bit warmer. This is looking too cool compared in like a cold temperature compared to the rest. And then look at that also, just by using this Q-tip, it kind of gives me a cool shape. I love using Q-tips, and I kind of like stopped for a while and I've been back at it and I love it. You get such cool shapes, and it's just like when we're drawing with pencil or any dry media, we can use our pencil or erasers and like a mono eraser as our drawing tool as well by removing. Again, just a little tip. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of temperature to this. So I'm going to add that transparent oxide red that was already on my palette. The nose is always going to be warm. And why do you think that is? Why would the nose be a little bit warmer, especially compared to the rest. And yeah, if you are thinking it's because we have all this blood inside of us, you are correct. So that already makes a big difference. It looked all gray and weird, and too much gray can make us not look so alive. So we want to make sure that we're adding these warm temperatures to make us look alive, because we got blood under us, under the skin. Yeah. Okay, I'm okay, happy with that, although I kind of want to bring that out just a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that I'm being really efficient with my drawing, because it's really easy to want to like get to it and get finished, but the more you get your drawing in place, the better your end result will be. Okay, let's do the mouth. Okay, and so I'll do my plums again. So let's see where the corner of her lips are. They on this side, at her left, our right. It goes just to the right of the corner of her eye. So then I'll bring this and just drag it down and make a little indication of that. Something I'm plotting my points. So there's some more math. Okay, and then so this side is going to be to the left of it. Okay. Which is crazy because it doesn't look like it would be that far away, but it is. So our eyes can be a little deceiving when we're looking at things, so it's good to check that out. Also, I'm kind of having like this imaginary sort of line around where her eyes are. So look, we have this like V that goes right here, and everyone has that. And so it's like, does that shape, does this imaginary line that I can see, this imaginary like shape around, does that kind of match up? Kind of, I'm seeing that. But it's like we're always looking for shapes. We're always making shapes, various colors of shapes. So just always think about that. And it's not always just the shape that we're actually making, like the, shadow of the nose, or, the shape of the actual eye. It's a lot of times the surrounding shapes that are going to make that shape. So think about just like building a puzzle. You would be wanting to compare other puzzle pieces around, and you're really thinking globally of like what all fits together, because one shape can be there, but if it doesn't fit around the others, then it won't look quite right. And so they can be kind of like supporting help to one another as well. Yeah, let me add a little bit of, get some more little pink to my pile that I have right here for the mouth, because that is a warm spot as well. Don't want to overdo it, but those are the main, spots. Like the nose is always going to be warm. Our ears will be warm, the mouth. And again, I'm talking about like color temperature. So you might be thinking, where's the cool areas? And it's really anything that's compared to. So especially like down in our jaw area, it's always cooler. And those are things that, kind of take a little bit to really learn and train your eye to see. But as you start to notice those things, you'll see it more and more. You can see slight, just very subtle variations, which is what we want to do. Everything is a subtle transition. Nothing is a sharp transition. Anytime there's a sharp color or temperature change is going to be when we have like, like the hair or different things. But as like the cheek turns, it's going to be a much softer transition. So we're going to have, really much tighter values together, tighter temperature changes, nothing dramatic. Let the drama be for the stars of the show, which are what? What do you think? For me, it would be the eyes and the mouth because that's like what we conversate with. That's what's like important. And as far as, like what we're viewing, for the most part, when we're talking, we're looking at the eyes and the mouth, unless someone has something in their nose, and then maybe we're looking there. But um, and I'm just constantly looking at my reference, so I'm not just driving blind. Gotta keep these Q-tips nearby. I'm always reaching for them. Okay, so I'm just also adjusting. I'm gonna make sure it's good. And we don't want to make her looking sad because it's easy to do. So we always want to have a little bit of like an upturn. If you're drawing, if the person's ever looking sad or anything like that, that can be it. Because when we look at a reference, the mouth does go down like that, but we still want to like give a little bit of a turn so we know that they're not super sad or anything. Unless you want them to be, you can use that to your advantage. And I'm gonna get a different, same Princeton brush, but just a different one. And I'll have this be like my super, super dark brush. And because the mouth is, it is dark in there. And it is going to be red, or warm, so I use my alizarin crimson for that. And then after, so I'll add a little bit of this, but I need to add it into her eyes too. Because otherwise, there's no relation. It looks like the mouth is way too dark. So here's the thing though, just like talking about relative temperatures, I'll keep that to my dark red, my dark warm brush. And then I'm going to get a different one for my dark cool brush. Let's see, do I have any more of these Princetons? No, but this is similar. Not that it needs to be the same, I'm just liking how it's drawing. So for the eyes, I want to have it be a little bit cooler because our actual eye, no one has a red eye. And there actually, I take that back. There are people that do, right? I think if you're albino, you have redder eyes, which that would be such a fun portrait. I have not done that. I should definitely do that. But the eyes are going to be definitely warmer compared to, or cooler compared to the mouth. So I'm going to add it in dark. And she has these like super dark eyes. I was hoping to get this echo. There we go. Now, eyelashes, I hear a lot of people ask about eyelashes, and the key to eyelashes is just less is more. So we get just a couple little indications that we have them on there. Now, if we add a bunch, even though we have a bunch of eyelashes, it will make your it'll make it just look weird, like they have like spiders, legs coming out of the eyes. So just kind of figure out one of them, and usually it's going to be like the high, the furthest one up. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so at this point I have my two dark brushes that are warm and cool, and then like my mid-tone. So yeah, Cheryl says, interesting, less is more. And it's so true, less is more. Um, that's a big part of as you're working on your piece, taking out pieces as you go, or maybe like a wild brush stroke that might have looked good at first. And but especially with shapes, though, we want to keep them like simple. And you know what? It makes it easier. So it kind of gives you some liberty to not feel like you need to just make something so rendered and like, you don't need, that can be a little suffocating sometimes, like, so you have permission to just make it a little bit more simple. Okay, so now that I added a little bit of the indication of the nostrils, and I'm still kind of grouping it together, but that way it is a little bit darker right there. Might need to move that up a bit, but let's see. Squinting to get my values down. Squinting to get my values down, and I'm also worried that I am like gonna need readers or something soon, because I'm constantly like, if something's close, I have to like look back. I don't know what's happening to me. I'm just kind of cleaning up my shapes. Maybe I'll keep working on this one like next week. Like, who knows, I might be tempted to work on it throughout the week, but it'd be kind of nice to have something that I'm just working on for this. Okay, so I'm going to continue down and start getting more of her drawing, but I'm gonna, keep in mind a design, so I don't want to add every little thing that's in there. Mm. And also, maybe as I'm like seeing this, her forehead's like this. I'm kind of giving her too much of a forehead. And when we do that, it's the same thing with the ears. You know, we have our forehead, and as we go up, this distance is shorter. So I just think I need to take out the top. And that's the thing. It's so easy to just be able to, especially with oil. That's what I do love about oil is it's a little bit more forgiving with your drawing and different parts because you can, it's, you know, it's still wet. So you can go around and really get, um, you know, fix your mistakes. Whereas if this was acrylic, it would just be dry and, you know, you can still fix things with, you know, acrylic. So that's fine. But you know, for my brain, it just works a little better to be able to kind of work around. I like to work around like globally instead of locally. So instead of, you know, refining the whole entire eye from, you know, drawing to actually painting, um, and then kind of moving on, I tend to really like to like work globally, work around um, that, you know, either it's just how everyone's brain works. There's like amazing artists that just work on one part of it at a time and have this fully realized amazing thing. And that would be a fun, like, kind of exercise or, you know, attempt or approach to try out. Because I don't ever really do that. I just like to kind of move around. And the hair, you know, I don't want to indicate any strands. I want to indicate just like chunks of hair. I love finding intersections in the face that I can use as my anchor and guide as I'm drawing, because I can see on her neck right here, you know, like right in here, it kind of lines up with the mouth right here, and then goes like that. And you know, if you can find those shapes, it's a lot of like seeing again like imaginary lines. So finding things that can connect and intersect is the best way to kind of find, you know, get like a good drawing. And the hair is, even though she has this like light blondish hair, um, again, it's all relative. So I want to keep it a little bit cooler than like the mouth would be. And there's always exceptions to that because, you know, if like you have actually like stark red hair, then that wouldn't be the case. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, babies are so fun to paint and draw. I think, you know, they're just so round. So you can get these just such cute shapes from them, and they're so fun to photograph too. I mean, it's like they're just so magical. They're like imaginations are just so crazy. And I'm just like softening my edges a little bit so they're not too hard later on as they like dry. And the neckline I do love to play with as like the shape. And this I don't want to just like fill in all the way. I'm going to be able to like see through it a little bit since this is shadow. I'll just take a step back so I can see it further away. Usually I like doing that the whole time, but oh my goodness, they're so cute. And then, so yeah, I'm gonna get in her kind of the shape of like her, how it all, that way it's not super flat. So trying to like really get her these shadow shapes in. And that helps, like if you're squinting, you can really see the breakdown of that. Helps with like seeing a little bit more form. And that top lid is always, it's usually like not so, um, dark, but we do have a top lid, and so does she. So we want to make sure we do indicate that, especially, everyone's, yeah, like eyes are different. Some people have more like hooded eyes. Some people we have more like surface area of our eyeball or on eyelid. So we can, that definitely gives a likeness of someone. I might want to. Yeah, so I think I'm pretty happy with my under painting or my drawing. And usually what I do from here then is like, do some more background elements, add some, color. And this time around, I definitely want to play with that. So I will add, maybe I'll just wait till next week, but I want to do, some like add some glitter around here and just like some fun. And the more fun I can add in the background and everything, the more I can add some fun to the face. Because the more muted our background is, the less range we really can afford with color without it looking um, more cartoony. So I'm actually going to make, her nose is further up, so I want to like really make sure I'm showing that. That's a little bit better. Oh, I just wiped that away. Make sure I'm putting the right, yep, that's my worm. Okay, well, I think that about kind of does this one. This was super fun. I was going to just do some like drawing with pencil today, and just at the last second was like, oh, you know what, I'll do that. Pencil's kind of hard to show up on camera anyway. So yeah, I will wait until next week and continue on. And if I do anything in between, because I can't help myself, I will, I'll record it. So yeah, this was fun. I did this demo, or this underdrawing for Miss Delilah. And yeah, so if you are interested in further learning, you can go to my website, francescabessettart.com. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be adding a lot more tutorials and tips and tricks on my YouTube. So if you're interested in that, you can subscribe, go to my website as well, get on my email list, because I send out a lot more quicker stuff there too sometimes. And yes, I hope you guys have a great week, a great weekend. I hope you stay creative and inspired. And I will see you guys next week. Okay. Oh, it is raining right now all of a sudden. That's crazy.